You are listening to the Hodges Huddle, where we discuss all things in the wide world of sports. Here's your KLSU sports team.
Welcome into the Hodges Huddle. I'm your host, Andre Champagne, and today I am joined by Michael Poggi and Raven Freeman. How are y'all doing on this Monday?
I'm doing good. The vibes
Are
good.
high.
The Saints won. The Texans won. The Texans are 2-0. So are the Saints. So I'm feeling great.
I'm feeling real good, man. I'm a little bit sad. I kind of wish we were doing these on Tuesdays still, so we could have a little calm little Tuesday. Shout out, Jaden.
Yeah, Jaden. Now it's apparently Magical Mondays.
It's Magic Mondays.
Mondays.
All right, cool.
I mean, that's what he said week one. So I guess we had to rebrand a little bit. But,
all right,
I'm doing pretty well. I mean, the vibes are kind of high.
Yeah,
Saints won. Ravens team won. Texans won. So
Texans have been 2-0 since like 2017.
Hey, how about them Saints?
How about the New Orleans Saints? We're going to talk about them. But my blood pressure is back to being normal after watching that LSU game. So let's talk about that one. LSU defeated South Carolina Saturday by a score of 36-33 in a gritty win after trailing by as much as 17 in the first half. Just a wild game all through. And after digesting it, I'm really impressed how LSU found their way back in it after going down by so much, especially in the hostile environment at Williams-Brice. So the offense, let's talk about the offense. They totaled 417 yards this game, which was very good, especially against a very underrated South Carolina defense. Nussmeier went 24 for 40 with 285 yards and an interception as well as 2 touchdowns. Definitely some questionable things, but also positives that we're going to get to in a minute. But the biggest story was Caden Durham, freshman running back, stepping up as he rushed for nearly 100 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day, where he gave LSU some juice. So first off, let's start with Garrett. He didn't play his sharpest game, but he made the plays that he absolutely had to make to give LSU a chance. Raven, I want you to start off. What did you like from Nussmeier's play this weekend?
Like I said yesterday on the Sunday show, I liked how he didn't give up, especially with how much his offensive line failed him. That's harsh, but it's like no matter how many times he was sacked, hit, how many points he gave up in the red zone, he's still, every drive when they got to start over, when their defense, didn't allow South Carolina to score any points, he was like, okay, we're still in it. Let's not give up hope yet. And he played until the very end. He took some hard hits.
Yeah, he got thrown
on Saturday.
around.
So, I was proud of that because I'm not saying Garrett's type of quarterback to get defeated, but at certain points I was defeated for him. I was like, Garrett.
Yeah, we were worried about old Garrett boy.
Yeah, no, I first of all, going back to what you said about underrated defense, I said it all week before. That South Carolina defense is legit. And it was our first taste of SEC defense. It's only going to get harder from there. Yeah. But, I thought Garrett did his job towards the end of the game, and that's making those clutch big-time plays. And, he's QB1. He has to make those plays, and he did. Yeah, there were mistakes made, and that's going to, we're still early in the season.
First SEC start, by the way.
It's his first SEC start, and it's on the road, noon game. Doesn't really get much harder than that, in my opinion. I feel a night game is hard, but, noon game, it's a wake-up call. It's a little bit different.
You can't start slow, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that crowd, it didn't make it any.
So props to them and Garrett for, crawling back in the game, for sure.
Yeah, and I kind of have what Raven talked about. I really like that Garrett just stayed poised after some of the bad plays that he was responsible for. He made the plays on the big third downs and made most of the throws he absolutely had to make.
Right.
Like one of those throws to Aaron Anderson down the field on the free play was one of the most beautiful throws I've seen.
Shout out Aaron Anderson, by the way.
Yeah, Aaron Anderson's been on one. But his accuracy as far as Nuss, it wasn't always the best, but he always got, I'll give this to him, he always got the ball out quick because he knew the pressure was coming. But we're going to talk about, what he should have done before getting the, rid of the ball just really quick. So what didn't you like that Garrett did this week? Because I know there were conversations during the game, all of us in that group chat with each other, and he wasn't always the sharpest in decision-making, as we saw with the interceptions, but also with other plays.
I mean, yeah, like you just said, the interceptions, but those 2 picks, thank God they were.
Oh, my gosh.
taken back, but it's like, that's 14 points, Garrett. You didn't give up. And then what Jaden said yesterday, like, there were times my dad and I were watching TV and we were like, Garrett, run. Run, Garrett. Run and slide. You could have gotten, I think you could have gotten like 3 first downs on like third down if you just would have ran. He's just scared.
Yeah,
and like I said,
he's getting popped all game, though. I would be scared.
No, I mean, look.
I know, but it's like you have to take those risks. Because with
agree.
Jaden, we were so comfortable. Jaden didn't make us nervous, but it's like with Garrett, every time he steps on the field, still my heart drops because I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen.
See, like my thing is like first week, I kind of expected him to be
In the
staying
pocket,
in the
yeah.
pocket, stuff like that. Then I saw him a little bit go out and move outside the pocket in week 2 against Nichols, and I really liked that. And then week 3, first beginning of the game was not doing any of that. And there was a lot of room that he could have made. There were also some throws that I thought he should have made. Going back to the group chat that he said, me and Jaden, we were kind of going off on the kid a little bit. And
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so at the time. He came back and did some clutch things for us. But, those were just simple mistakes that, like, you can't have from your SEC QB1.
Right.
And no matter what years he's in and as a starting quarterback, you just can't have it. The mistakes happen, and that's how you lose football games.
Yeah, I think this weekend was just an example of how Garrett has to get better with his reads. He's just also got to be a smarter football player. I understand when you're down double digits and you need to score. I mean, you try and go make something out of nothing, and that's something Garrett's actually done in the past when he's been stuck in there, thrown in games where it's either blowout time or it's look, the SEC championship game, he tried to do a lot, and it worked out for him. But look at when he got thrown in against Southern, he threw a pick 6.
Yeah.
Look at what happened at Bama. So just it's stuff like that. You have to just take what the defense gives you is what I'm pretty much saying. And I think he's got to learn how to take a sack or throw it out of bounds rather than just forcing a bad throw on the run. Time after time, Saturday, we watched him run out the pocket and try and make a throw on the run with one of his receivers, which almost got him in trouble in the red zone and other places. But there's no reason to do that in the future. But let's talk about the running back room. Caden Durham, in particular, stepped up big for an LSU running back that has honestly just lacked physicality all season so far. So what did you see out of Durham that popped out to you yesterday? I'll start with you, Raven.
He played very smart. Like, at times when the O-line can open up a hole up the middle, I feel like Josh Williams and Caleb Jackson was just like, well, let's try it anyways. Like, no, that's not how it works. If there's space on the outside, if there's a hole on the outside, that's where you have to run. And I feel like that's what Durham did. I mean, that's how we got 2 of our touchdowns on Saturday.
Yeah, it was on the outside.
I mean, it's just all about playing smart. Caleb Jackson and Josh Williams act like they're in the wide receiver group where pretty much some big changes have been made. Nothing has changed in this running back room except for you've added more talent in Durham. So it's like, where's like the misunderstanding coming from?
Yeah.
I was so happy to see Caden Durham do that. And like after the Nichols week, again, I said that I liked what I saw a little bit out of Caden Durham, even though we couldn't run the ball or anything. The little moments that I saw him go in the game, I was like, yes, I like that we're giving him touches, even though John Emery went down. Huge for us. So to see him get his touches and go out there and execute made me so happy because I've believed in this kid since he committed, and I absolutely love Caden Durham, and I think he's going to be the next big running back for LSU, and I do think he deserves a lot more touches.
Yeah, I agree. Caden Durham stepped up, like I said, in a running back room that hasn't brought much physicality at all. And what's most disappointing out of that, it was pretty much your veteran guys. I mean, Caleb Jackson has got the amount of touches now that you kind of have to consider him more of a veteran.
You do?
But it was more, I guess, for me, concerning for Josh Williams because he's been here 6 years and he's still kind of struggling to run with that physicality that he was able to run with last season. So, You love to see Caden, who's a guy who wants it more than others, and he stays ready for his opportunity, is what I'm saying. And I love that LSU actually stuck with him too because he was bouncing off defenders.
It was awesome.
And for his size too, that's really impressive.
He was definitely our savior.
But yeah, for sure. I mean, should Durham be a starter going forward at running back, and if so, why?
I'd put him as the 2 guy, to be honest. Caleb Jackson was one of the impact players going into the South Carolina game on the screen, and
Didn't see him.
didn't really see him do a whole lot.
Struggled.
And
Yeah.
so, like, my thing is if that's gonna be the case, give your guys that are going out there and executing the ball. And I think BK is gonna do that. So obviously, you got to keep your 18 at 1, but I think we're going to have a great running back system now that we're starting to figure out that it doesn't matter. Yeah, everybody has a role. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but every single person on this team has a role, and they're starting to figure it out a little bit, especially that running back room.
I mean, I think he should be RB1. I mean, has the running back room, has it struggled this whole season? Yes, but I feel like Durham has still been the most consistent running back. And, that's the thing, too. Having Josh Williams at 1 still hurts us the most because I feel like he's been the most unreliable. I mean, it's like, why not give Durham that chance? It doesn't have to be the whole season.
He kind of looks slow off the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it's just...
I don't know. To me, that's what it looks like.
No,
I feel like this coaching
slow.
staff doesn't, change. It's time for some changes to be made. I don't know what they're
And I'll say,
scared of.
to an extent,
Yeah.
Durham should be the guy that gets majority of the carries when you need a big pickup, but I still think you need to find ways to get everyone else involved. But I think for a running back, you want your most athletic guy who can hit the hole the fastest, and I think Durham is that guy for you right now. I think just Caleb Jackson, he's got a few things to learn. He's kind of struggling to find the holes. You saw that in the red zone. You got to be able to bounce it out.
He ran into Garrett.
Half of that is on the offensive line. It is.
But and look, Josh got in the end zone to get us the lead.
Great. Yes.
And
That was more of the play design. I'll say that.
I understand, but if he's your goal line guy, he's your goal line guy.
Yeah, I agree.
And if that's what it's got to be, then that's what it's got to be. It doesn't matter how you score. It matters if
That's
you
true.
score. And so I think that if you got a 1-2 punch, that's deadlier than just throwing a random freshman in there. Not saying he's random, but throwing a freshman in there.
Yeah.
Just, because it's still SEC ball and it's still just
Yeah,
it's
you
South
can't be
Carolina.
predictable, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so you got to keep getting Caleb Jackson in there if the coaches truly believe that he's what they think he is. And I have a lot of faith in him. He gained 40 pounds of pure muscle. So, I mean, he's got to be something. I don't know. What I saw Saturday was a little bit of a glimpse of a running back room that has a little bit of life. And that's what I like.
No.
I mean, I guess I'll just move on. But how should LSU go about, like we just said, everybody's going to have a role. How should they go about utilizing those 3 guys just moving forward? I mean, if y'all want me to go first,
you can go.
You can go.
Okay. I just said I think Caleb Jackson can be used in the red zone as a back for LSU until he starts to learn how to hit the important holes and move in free space. But
I like that.
I think also Josh Williams is a guy that needs to go, be your power back. He's a power guy, and he can, get on the field on 2nd and 3rd down even when you're passing. He can go. He's a very good pass blocker for a running back, and I think Caden Durham should be, your first down back. Get the most yardage. I don't know. That's kind of how I see it right now.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like Raven don't agree with me, but I like the little glimpses that I saw on Saturday
I
at
do
the
too.
running back room.
Yeah, I thought Josh Williams played better.
Yeah, it was his best. Not saying a lot, it was his best game all year.
All year, yeah.
And I mean, it was obviously Caden Durham's best game. So the fact that
they're improving,
and that the run game was a factor in us winning a football game, that's a good sign.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Michael, it's not that. I do agree to a certain extent. It's just going back to last season, I just don't understand. What's the struggle? You guys weren't
It's the
doing
offensive
this.
line. That's what
That
it
is true. But it's that's why I use the word smart. Durham was smart when he played. I don't understand why Josh Williams and Caleb Jackson kind of do the obvious. Okay, there's not a hole opening up because the offensive line, who knows what they're thinking. It's South Carolina's defense, they read that. They understood that. And it's it didn't click in their head the whole game. Did Josh have his best game of the season? Yes, woohoo. And it's an SEC play. Hopefully it gets better. But it's Josh, you were not this guy last year. I want to go up to him and be what's going on? That's why I'm just kind of utilizing rotation. That's fine. But it's I feel like it's not even. It's like their playing ability almost. Like I just don't understand where kind of everything went wrong. Like, I'm disappointed because what we saw last season was not this. I don't know why they're trying to get everything together when you can kind of just piggyback off of last season.
Well, I think it's just more than the running backs themselves. Like I said, I think it's overcomplicating it for the offensive line.
True.
I think half of that has to do with Joe Sloan, and I think it's also the offensive line. So let's talk about them. They were believed to be the best in the country going into the season, but they've struggled greatly to get those pushes on, especially third and shorts, where it's supposed to be the easiest, especially for a line like this with the most experience. I mean, that's probably what's made me mad the most, seeing how LSU has struggled in the short run game, and just not being able to get that final push. I mean, you're having to pass it on the 2-yard line. What? There's no reason for that.
Well, we also learned that our pass protection isn't
what we thought it was. Yes.
So there's more issues than just the run game now.
So talk about how much of a letdown that group has been.
Yeah, it's a bummer. When you have that much confidence and that much talent in one room, it
could get to you.
Well, it can get to you, but it also doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. If you're putting in the work and you have the talent, it should be there.
Yeah, it should work.
So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going wrong.
Right.
I don't know if it's a leadership issue. I don't know if it's a top to bottom issue. I don't know if there's one guy holding the team back. I don't know what it is. But whatever it is, it's got to get fixed, and it's got to get fixed before Ole Miss, or else there's going to be an issue in Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like even within like Garrett first week USC, he was wearing a shirt with all his own line's faces on it. Like these are my guys. And I just feel like even like his trust, like his group is kind of like declining. Like Will Campbell has struggled.
He struggled this week.
Yeah,
I
mean he's had a couple penalties against USC, but like he struggled against Nichols a little bit too. And it's like
I wouldn't say that.
I feel like for his ability to play, he struggled. I mean,
maybe in the run game, but
not
before this week. Will Campbell had 83 snaps and 0 pressures allowed.
Yeah, and
so,
I mean that's really good.
That's what
but then we learned that because we were talking, we were like, oh, maybe the USC defense or whatever is as good as it is.
Yeah,
and
USC was good. Don't get me wrong.
They were great, but that D line was not.
They're not
as
good as
strong as
South
the other
Carolina.
USC.
I mean,
So we found out that there are going to be issues if we can't fix them. So.
Yeah, we definitely made their defense look a lot better than they actually are.
I think South Carolina, you got to give them a little bit of credit because
good defense.
Their blitzing was very smart. Like they knew which areas to go into, and I thought they kind of picked on more the interior guys than the outside guy. I thought Emory Jones had a great game. I don't think he allowed a sack on Saturday, but
it's like
Will Campbell.
Who allowed the most?
Will Campbell, I think he allowed 1 sack, but I think Miles Frazier might have been the guy that.
We can move on and I'll figure it out.
But it doesn't matter. We're going to move on to this defense because we're starting to run out of time here. LSU defense had another up and down week as they gave up lots. Like I said, when they scored off of really quick. It was big chunk plays. Even though, like where it's hard to see right now, this defense is improving little by little, especially when you look at last season. There's no denying that. And it's the same guys. That's another thing. These are the same guys in the room. You heard Brian Kelly say it. We can't just bench guys, but there are still many issues to fix. So let's kind of talk about those. First, let's talk about the positives, though. I thought the defensive line had a great game, and that was one of the bigger questions coming into this game, where Jacoby and Guillory went down, and LSU just didn't blink this week.
We were scared, man.
Yeah.
And there was one guy that shut everybody up.
Yeah. So although they did allow a lot of rushing yards, which I would probably put most of that blame on the linebackers more so. They got to the quarterback and totaled 5 sacks on the day. So what did you think of that defensive line this weekend?
I mean, I saw a lot of improvement, but I'm still going to stick by what I say. Like, not until Sellers was out the game. I feel like it was a struggle up until the second half. I feel like Sellers really gave the whole defense a run for their money. But it's like when QB2 got in, they looked good. But it's like, aren't those the expectations?
Lenore Sellers still got sacked, I think, twice. So
Yeah.
I mean, your defensive line was still
He still
good.
got sacked.
Yeah. And he also got stripped. So.
Yeah, no, he did. I am with Raven that if Lenora stays in the football game,
It is a different game, but
it's a
a
whole
totally
different ball
different
game,
game.
and I don't know if the Tigers come out alive.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. It
This is
didn't
football.
happen.
Oh boy.
No, it didn't happen.
That's
It
what I'm
didn't
saying.
happen, so it doesn't matter. But, and you know why it didn't happen? Because that guy Braden Swinson.
There you
That's
go.
why. Number 4.
Yeah, so talk about him. That's the next
I mean,
question.
defensive breakout player of the week. What else can
Yeah,
you say?
SEC defensive player of the
SEC,
week.
exactly.
Yep.
And like, what I was saying is that he's the one guy that shut everybody up. Everybody's saying, oh, the D-line is going to be weak. They're going to be able to run all the way through them. I was even saying that. I didn't really have a whole lot of faith in this defensive line.
More of the questions on that interior right now.
And yeah, more on the interior instead of the DN spot.
Right.
But still, we were able to make pressure, able to get to the quarterback and get past those linemen. And I thought that was an awesome thing to see a guy like Braden Swinson get something good for him.
Yeah, 3 sacks, 5
Forced
tackles,
fumble.
and a forced fumble. Yeah, I mean, this was his revenge game for sure. He's been receiving a lot of backlash on social media, and
Over
I
time,
think, I think this game was a little personal to him because he just posted on Instagram today or yesterday.
I saw
his
that.
grandmother passed away.
Yep.
So I can tell now, like he was out there for her, and he played a really good game Saturday.
I agree. I mean, anytime you get 3 sacks, like you're doing something right. But also, I'm going to give credit to Blake Baker just for freeing up those defensive linemen when acting like he was going to rush Harold Perkins.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a lot of exotic looks where it freed up the defense. So I thought the game plan was very good.
I
game.
agree to an extent, but like we were saying about the running, the long rushes, like I feel like
that's linebacker situation.
It's linebacking, but it's also play calling.
It is.
It's like it's also play calling, like that long 70-yard touchdown rush, like
Yes.
that
Should
should
never
never happen.
I agree.
So
Yeah, so let's talk about what did you think of the move of bringing Perkins to that star position and having Whit Weeks and Greg Penn be your more middle guys?
I liked it. They just couldn't tackle early, and that was what's killing them. They simply couldn't tackle. Perk missed a big tackle. Whit missed a big tackle.
Yeah, Whit got exposed on that outside.
Yeah,
run play.
and that's another thing that it just can't happen. But I thought that it's the right move to play these guys where they feel comfortable playing.
Right.
And if that's where they feel comfortable playing, play them there.
That's where you're your best.
And that's where you're going to be at your top. And the tackles and stuff will come at another point. But I was worried about that tackling, man, because it
was
bit
bad,
us in the butt
especially
last year.
Especially like at the very start
The beginning of the game,
Yes,
yeah,
it was
when
a
they
little-
went on that 17-0 run, it was just destroying us.
Yeah.
Yeah, piggybacking off of Michael, like y'all said, this is new. And it's like you could tell they were the most comfortable in those spots. And throughout the season, it's going to be better. UCLA will be a huge test.
Hopefully.
And those missed tackles, I mean, I bring it back to the atmosphere. There was a lot going on in that stadium. And,
Yes.
like I just said, it's new. They need to adjust. So I feel like UCLA, let's see if this works. It should.
It will.
So
It will. For UCLA, I think we can. It'll be an easier tailgate show for us this week for sure because poor UCLA. I think they just lost by 30 against Indiana,
And they beat Hawaii by a field goal.
Yeah, and there you go. But I think it was a good move to move Perkins, back to that star position, just because he took, like I said, he took attention off of those defensive backs. Defensive tackles, and even when dropping back, it was nice to see consistently defensive tackles get to the quarterback.
Right.
I think Whit Weeks did okay, but he's going to have to do a way better job at shedding blocks and when he gets picked up, because he's really good when he's unattended to.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to know, if you're free, an offensive lineman can come get you.
Well, before we move on, I would like to say LSU did not play a good football game, just so that
And still won.
everybody is clear. They did not play well, and they won the football game.
So you
Because
should feel
on
good.
the road.
because QB1 went out. Well, how many instances are there going to be when someone's QB1 goes
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. That's life. Like I said,
They
I'm not,
found a way to win.
Yes,
and that's
it does
what
matter.
matters.
down 17-0. Like, no matter what, you have
On
to
the
give them
road
credit.
in the
So if
SEC.
Sellers would have stayed in, they would have won. Or that
Probably
doesn't matter?
so, yes.
There's a very good
Yeah.
chance, yes. But guess what? It didn't happen.
He
So
wasn't very good either passing the ball.
Yeah, but he ran all the way through us.
But let's talk about the Saints, man.
Thank you.
Who that? Who that?
Michael don't, because I always refer back to that first Sunday show.
That's cool. We good now.
Whatever.
Okay.
We up.
We
don't
are
be
so bad.
wishy-washy.
Hey, home Super Bowl gonna go crazy.
Let me
Raven.
tell you.
I agree.
Shout out Jaden too. Jaden and Michael. I was like, are the Saints gonna beat the Panthers?
Ravens brought this up 2 weeks in a row.
They
by the way.
looked at each other and they were like,
I hope so. No, we said I hope so. And the reason
It's the
being is
Panthers, Michael.
nobody knew what Clint Kubiak's offense was going to be like.
"Oh please."
We did it. No, we didn't.
Okay.
Nobody knew, and here he is. And he guess what?
There you go.
Unless something happens, he gonna have a head coaching job in a year.
I know, that's what I'm scared of. I'm like,
He's gonna have a
I'm
head
like,
coaching
Clint
job in a
Kubiak,
year.
don't get too good. He's gonna be a new. He's gonna be the Patriots' new head coach
He's
soon.
gonna be a Jaguar.
Yeah, no, I
he's
don't,
gonna be
I
a
don't
Jaguar.
want that. But yesterday, like we're referring to, the New Orleans Saints put the NFL world on notice as they absolutely shredded the Dallas Cowgirls by a score of 44 to 19. Offense remarkable, 432 total yards.
About it.
Creativity off the charts. Defense also looked stellar, by the way, in a game where you didn't even have Marshawn Lattimore. So a lot to be
awesome.
excited about.
It was
Let's
so fun
Let's
to
talk about
watch.
Derek Carr.
How about him?
That man got some swag now. How much does he look like a different quarterback under this new offense?
I mean, I'll tell you, he ain't gonna get booed on Sunday.
Not anymore.
He ain't gonna get booed when he's coming off the field. I'll tell you that. He that's a little bit different. That's
Yeah.
a little bit different.
It is
He
weird.
looks great. And you know, the run game is working, which allows him to open up more. He's hitting the deep ball to Shaheed. He's finding guys like you weren't seeing that last year, and it's awesome. Look,
Man's hitting the
life's-
Michael Jackson now.
Life's
man.
good when the Saints are playing. Well,
I'm
you know what I
telling you.
mean?
Raven, what have you seen from it? I mean, you're the more unbiased.
Yeah, we biased.
So
We're
I mean,
biased.
I wanna
my
hear what you
answer,
think.
It's short and sweet, but his confidence, man, it was just sky high, and that's what happens when you have a good O line. Derek Carr was able to
Yeah.
perform well because of that too. I mean, look at some of the
Ins-
passes he threw; it was flawless.
I
And he
know
was
that
standing straight
pass
up.
to Olave right before they scored their 5th touchdown of the half.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
I mean,
Dude, it was
Derek
awesome.
Carr was,
That was
untouched
awesome.
yesterday, and like that swag that was brought out, that was what
He was
needed
throwing
for this.
dots.
He
Yeah.
was.
He was throwing dots to the
Yeah.
corner to the sideline. Like
I thought Derek looked really comfortable.
He looked great.
because he doesn't have to drop back in every single down, which he doesn't like to do a lot. He doesn't like to drop back in the shotgun every play. No quarterback really likes to do that because that's a lot of responsibility on having to pick up blitzes like every single play. And like I said, he likes to play action and he likes leaving the pocket at times. So I think all the motion and all the play action is actually really helping him play to his strengths a lot more. It's a lot easier on a quarterback when you don't have to drop back 40 times a game as opposed
Yeah.
to 25 to 28-ish. It's not as stressful, like I said, on a quarterback. So I think that's really a big difference. And like Raven said, that offensive line, we got to give it to him because I did not expect that whatsoever.
and they look good. They look
That
good.
that preseason game when Penning was getting slaughtered, I was like, we're in for a long season.
Well, like the other thing is like before the pick that Derek threw, which wasn't a good throw, but it wasn't.
That
really,
was a
it
screw
wasn't-
you throw.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't really, and we got it back right after, so it didn't matter. But before that, the Saints were 15 for 15 on drives
Yeah.
of scoring, 15 of 15.
Insane.
That's insane.
Y'all know how good that Dallas defense is too.
Great.
Exactly.
Like they're gonna have 5-6 losses this
Like
year.
I've
And
never
we
seen
one of them.
I've never seen Michael Parsons look like so confused.
He was frustrated
Yeah.
and angry and yelling at his team, and
Man,
it
he
made
was
me so
angry,
happy.
man.
Yes.
Oh,
But let's talk about the defense really quick. Even with no Marshawn Lattimore yesterday, this team was able to stop one of the best offenses in the NFL. What does that tell you just about this defense, and what do you think they're going to be able to accomplish once they're all healthy?
Man, the sky is the limit with how they played yesterday. Like the amount of pressure they brought on Dak. Dak is not an easy quarterback to tackle, to even like put pressure on. Like Dak really isn't. Doesn't have much fear in him. My stepdad's
He's a big dude too.
Yeah, my stepdad's a Cowboys fan, so I know a lot about Dak Prescott. But Dak looked like Bryce Young out there. Caleb Williams out there. Caleb Williams played awful yesterday, but that's a different story. Like Dak looked scared, and then Lattimore's out, but imagine when he comes back in. Y'all
Yeah.
are gonna have a top 3 defense, not 3.
For sure. I think so too. Mike,
I love it. It makes me feel like
this dude's on one
Mike,
right
that's
now.
a bubbly.
Yes, it makes me so happy. It makes me feel
I
so
haven't seen this
good.
dude so happy.
Oh, it makes me feel so good watching them. It's like 2018 back.
Yeah, the
all
vibes
over
are high.
again.
Yeah.
Oh, it feels so good. There was a parade in Dallas.
Yeah, that's
full
the
of
best
New
part.
Orleans people.
What did I say
Like,
about the
come
Saints
on.
fans? Y'all have the best fan base. Y'all and the Eagles. I mean, like
Eagles.
y'all. I feel like the Eagles have a really good fan base.
Eagles are just
Oh, they're just mean.
horrible people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're just mean. Before we Clint Kubiak, back to the Clint Kubiak thing. The fact that we are moving, like we are done with the boring offense, under center, handoff, play action.
Yeah.
We're getting guys in motion. We're running trick plays. We're getting we're throwing the deep
We're
ball
confusing
now.
them.
Yeah,
We're taking
come
their best
on,
players
let's
out
go.
on
Y'all
defense.
are being
Loving it.
y'all are being like, I forgot the word. Like, I don't want to say confusing because like last year the Saints offense was very predictable. Y'all
Yes,
are being
we're new.
creative. That's what I
Yeah.
meant to
We're
say.
we're now in the modern offense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't play like how we did in 2010, 2011, 2012.
Right.
You can't
You
play
gotta
like that
evolve.
anymore.
You gotta
It's
evolve.
Times have
the
changed.
game has
And
changed,
that's why you see
and so we gotta
Sean
change.
Payton still struggling. So,
Yeah, exactly. Can't wait for that.
back to the
game.
defense. I think this defense is going to define the team once again. I think if they can continue to hold teams to 24 points a week in and week out kind of basis, they're going to be just fine because this offense has shown they can score now.
Well, especially if they're scoring 44
Well,
points
yeah,
a
that,
game.
let's be clear. That's not going to happen every game,
Yeah.
but it sure very well might. It very well might. So I think this defense, when Marshawn gets back, is not only going to be suffocating, they're going to be super deep because you now have another defensive back that's starting wise, and then you played Kool-Aid McKinstry this week, and he did phenomenal. He did really well. And another guy like Jordan Howden, Will Harris, all those guys played really well. And so you got to love the depth at that position too. And so you really have to be, I guess, excited as a Saints fan for the future of the defense too.
Yeah.
After Tyrann Mathieu and Marshawn Lattimore.
Yeah.
But predict the Saints record within their next few games. First between hosting the Eagles next week, then you go to the Falcons, at the Chiefs, and then versus the Bucks. Give me.
I mean, I have them. That's 4 games. I have them 3-1. I only see that loss
Okay.
against the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs are bad, man. I mean, the Chiefs.
I don't know. The Chiefs can get beat because I watched a really bad Bengals team keep
I mean,
up with
but it's
them
like
last week.
that's a rivalry. I feel like we talked about that yesterday on the show. Like the Bengals are always going to make the Chiefs shake, and like even with the Chiefs beating the Saints, I feel like it's not even going to be a bad loss. I mean, y'all are cooking. I'm gonna go knock on wood after the show is over.
Okay.
But like Sean Payton, he quoted a Kendrick Lamar song yesterday in the locker room.
Dennis
so-
Allen? Yeah, he did.
Oh,
He,
That was
okay.
awesome.
he
Dennis
said they
Allen.
not like us.
Yeah.
No, he said
Or-
sometimes you got to pop out and show.
Yeah,
them.
that's what he
Nah,
said.
never mind,
So, I
sorry.
mean, that's what it's looking like.
He quoted that song. though.
It was awesome. Look, I think we could easily go 4-0. Not easily, I'm just kidding. I think we could go 4-0, but I'm going to be realistic. I said we go 2-2.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I think we drop one of the Eagles, drop one of the Chiefs, win the good ones with the Falcons and Bucks on top of the NFC South.
Yeah.
Move on.
I'll say 2-2 as well, just because playing at Arrowhead is super
it's tough.
difficult.
Monday Night Football.
Super
Oh
difficult.
wow. I didn't know that.
I've seen like the refs gonna be on their side too.
Yeah, and I'll say we drop one against the Bucks. I think that'll be our humble.
I think
we need to get humbled.
I think our humbling
Loss.
is this week.
Do you think so?
I think that we can win the game.
I think so.
100% too.
The
but,
way that they looked though these past few weeks.
I mean, we'll see how they look
you
tonight.
know.
We'll see how they look tonight.
we'll see.
That's gonna be a fun game.
I mean,
to
they're
watch.
playing the Falcons, so you're not gonna really tell. But
I mean, yeah, but if the Falcons give them something to worry about,
we should be confident.
we should be confident. Yeah,
Right.
And you're at home, so we'll see. But
Dome's gonna be rocking.
anything else?
Who dat? Go Tigers. That's all I got.
Okay.
Go Texans. 2-0 on the season, baby. CJ Stroud. Love you. Stephon Diggs. Love you, Joe Mixon.
Derek
Love you, buddy.
Stingley.
Yeah. With the pick yesterday. Go
He did.
Tigers.
He did.
He did have a pick.
But that is going to do it here for us on today's episode. Thanks to Michael Poggi and Raven Freeman for joining me. I'm Andre Champagne, and this has been the Hodges Huddle.